Hello, everybody. This is Ferris.
And this is Caleb Lenoir, and welcome to another episode of Conversation with the Homecare Guyz.
Caleb, I almost overlapped you and just said Conversation with the Homecare Guyz.
Do it, man. Listen, I would love the energy. I need more energy, so that's great.
That's not even my part, man. How's it going today?
It's coming along great. I'm just happy just to be here, man. Happy to do another episode. Mm-hmm. You know, I find so much relief and therapy whenever we actually just converse. Mm-hmm. When we talk about different topics and helping our followers and listeners on their job or their quest to be a better themselves or a better entrepreneur, a better healthcare entrepreneur. Yeah. It just makes my life better. So I just love these conversations. So it brings me so much joy.
And I think so much is so many times we don't have the opportunity to go through and just have people just don't have opportunity to have conversations, like open dialogue conversations, to be vulnerable, to be transparent, to realize that it's a growing process. And that's one thing I too take away from the conversations. It allows me to go through and think introspectively about different topics we're talking about, right, and how I can relate it to my life personally and professionally. Right. And I think these are the type of things that we'd like to dive into. But man, what do you got going on this weekend, brother? I know the weekend's almost here.
This weekend, yeah, I'm excited about this weekend. What I've been doing a lot of decorating. And so I'm having a ugly sweater party for my friends.
All right.
I'm super excited about them. I have a few friends over. We're gonna, just have a few laughs, listen to some music, and probably watch a few movies, and it's gonna be great. So I mean, it's gonna be a kickback, and you're invited if you want to come.
Man, now the invite
on camera, bro.
Man, that's awesome.
Well, how about you? What are your plans this weekend?
Well, this weekend actually, my family and I, we're doing a little getaway. So we try to do something. So we're going to the mountains, actually.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So we're going to the mountains this weekend. We're actually heading up towards Virginia, actually, and we're going to be doing some snow tubing and maybe jump on the skis, but definitely drinking some hot cocoa. It's supposed to sleet up there a little bit. Not going to snow that much, but we're just going to try to get away before Christmas comes. So we do want to spend Christmas at home. So we're just getting away, taking the little ones up there, just relaxing a little bit. We're just going to go in and go out. So it's going to be really, really fun, man.
That's good. Have you ever skied before?
No, and that's the sad part about it. I lived in Colorado for almost 7 years and never skied. Went to Breckenridge, been to all these different places, been to the lodges and everything. Never skied.
Wow.
And had so many opportunities to snowfest, etc., but never did. And one of my things is I'm not skiing. Well, we may ski up in Virginia, but one thing I want to do is actually ski in Colorado because the slopes are beautiful. I want to get on the nice snowsuits and get me the big old glasses and get on the bunny suit, whatever they have. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I think skiing is fun. What do you think about skiing versus snowboarding? Are you like a ski person or snowboard?
I think I would prefer snowboarding.
Okay.
I think I would prefer snowboarding.
Think too, I would like to try snowboarding. I think the person that made me want to try some snowboarding when I saw the movie with Queen Latifah last holiday.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember that?
I think, did she jump or something? I don't know.
She was like, she had this death diagnosis or someone gave her a fake diagnosis and she was just trying to travel around the world. And so somehow she went to a ski resort and she lost balance and she would just skiing all down the hill through the slope. Wow. And she was just going and making turns and snowboarding, and she landed. And at the end, she didn't get hurt, but she ended up landing right there on the table. And it was like, okay, I said, I officially want to learn how to snowboard.
Man, oh my gosh, brother. And that's funny you brought up that movie Last Holiday because that kind of segues into our conversation for today.
Think about that.
Our conversation for today. Look, I try to pull out some good segues. I kind of learned from Whoopi Goldberg. She has some amazing segues. Yeah. But our conversation today is, what if 2021 was your last year alive?
Oh my goodness.
I think, man, it's not, and this is not a somber topic. Okay. This is something that I think that it's just a discussion. You have to go through and think about that because as we prepare for 2022, we expect to be there. But what if 2021 was your last year alive? What if 2022 is going to be your last year? You have to really start asking yourself some deep questions to go through and ensure that you're on the right track and you're doing the things that brings joy to your life, that brings love to your life, that brings excitement. Make sure you're aligning with your purpose. And I think that's one thing a lot of times as humans, we avoid the conversation because we feel like we're going to be there. We're going to live to 95 years old. We're going to go through and live old and gray, but things like that may not happen. But in that dash, what are we doing? Are we actually doing things that we truly enjoy? Are we making memories like you're doing this weekend with your friends as well? Are we making memories or are we making excuses because we don't have enough time?
Well, I want to say this. This is so ironic that you did say that. And I have been evaluating my life lately. And I have been, there's 5 wellnesses that I have been really focusing on. There's social, spiritual, mental, financial, and I guess it's physical. Mm-hmm. And so out of those 5 wellnesses, I have rated myself from a scale of 0 to 10. Mm-hmm. 10 being like, okay, you're excelling in all those areas. Mm-hmm. And so each one of those areas, I ended up rating myself truthfully. And a lot of those areas, just being transparent, weren't high, except for probably one or 2 areas. And so right now I want to really work on those areas. Mm-hmm. And so when you're saying, if 2021 was your last year alive, like I feel like I feel like there's so many areas in my life that I want to become better. And so even what you said about even my friends and social, I want to socialize and hang out with my friends and make memories. And that's one of my areas that I said I need to improve in. So it's so ironic that you said that. I want us to, that's one thing I would encourage you guys to do is, create a wheel, like create a pie, and out of it divide it into, 5 slices, and then you put a dot in the middle, and then on those end points of those circles, end up putting those different 5 wellnesses: physical, spiritual, social, financial, mental, and spiritual. And then what you do is you rate. 0 is the middle, and you rate it up, and then you connect the dots and see if you have a wheel. Mm-hmm. And then if you don't have a wheel, those are the areas that you want to kind of tackle first.
Yeah, and I think that's really good, Caleb, when it comes to being able to get those 5 points, because ultimately that is a fulfilled life. If you can go through and start and just be vulnerable and transparent. If we can go through and start getting higher rankings in those areas, because it's one thing to be successful spiritually and a failure financially, or it's one thing to be a success financially and your health is not there,
right?
Or the family life is not there. And I think that we're put on earth to live a holistic life,
right?
And we're put on earth to go through and actually not just to be strong in one arm, but also in both arms as well. And I think that's one thing is, as we prepare and as we kind of ponder upon this question, I think these are the steps that, and you said it perfectly. I think that those 5 areas, these are the steps that we should evaluate even further to kind of go through and see what if 2021 is my last year. Have I fulfilled? Do I have a circle? Am I fulfilling my calling? Am I truly on the track of actually bettering myself in all aspects, not just focusing running hard just in business, not just focusing hard just in work, or not just focusing hard in finances, but on all aspects of it? Do I have friends? Do we like to go through and hang out with each other?
Right.
Do I spend time in the gym? Do I go through and actually spend time eating good, healthy food? Do I have a spiritual relationship? These are the things that we have to have. And I think that if we ask that question and for some reason not balanced, that's when we can come back and we can create a pathway to get to a balanced life as well.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. My wheel personal affairs was like click, 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 bam, flat. And it was it could roll a little bit. And then when you have a little area that you need to work on that is not the best, it's just like bam, like it just shut down. And so just think about all your wheels like that in a tire. You can't really get too far.
Yep. And Kelly, one thing, I just with this question, what if 2021 was my last year alive? I can honestly say that, you know what? Hey, this past year, I've grown in some areas. I'm like, okay, I've spent more time with family. Got a chance to make more memories with family. Doing well financially. Spiritually, I feel like I need to grow a little bit more.
Right.
Health-wise, I may be skinny, but I feel like I need to go to eat better. I need to go to hit the gym a little bit more. I'm still actually going to the gym actually as well. I think a few episodes ago, I said I was going to start back.
Right.
So those are the type of things where I feel like I have opportunity to go through and grow, because I don't see myself reaching a perfect or reaching perfection. I do see that I have opportunity to grow. And that's one thing, is just knowing that I'm not beating myself up, knowing that, okay, I did not hit all the marks, but I'm working towards it. And I think that's one thing, that's the question that we have to ask ourselves. If this was our last year, what would we do differently? I posed the question, if 2022 is your last year, what would you do differently today? What's the one thing that you'll do different in these next 365 days than you did last year?
I think that's a question you really have to think about. I know one answer that comes to mind really is, I would choose to be happy. I would make a constant choice every day to be happy. I will not let anyone stress me out.
That's it.
I will not do anything that I do not want to do. I would be happy. I would travel. I would live. I would, I know we talked about this on a previous episode, is what others' opinion thinks about you. And I will not care about those others' opinions. If I wanted to skydive that day, or if I wanted to go to Timbuktu and live for 10 days, whatever it is, I would do it. And I think that I would just choose to live a happy life. I think that. How about you? What is that one thing that you would do differently?
I think my wife always, when we talk about it, I'm always kind of putting things off. Like I have ambitions to get my private pilot's license, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it then. I'm going to do it. Like she's been wanting to give me this gift, I think for it was our anniversary or something, like birthday, anniversary, something. But it's been for the last few months, and I'm like, okay, I don't have time to do it right now because I'm doing this, or I'm working. I got something I'm working on. Got something I'm working on. It's always kicking the can forward,
right?
But eventually, the can actually there's no more can to kick. And then you live your life. You're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have. Or man, if I was young, I would go ahead and skydive. Or man, if I was young, if I had the correct vision, I'll go there and be a pilot. It's always wishing I would have, could have. And I think that's one thing that I see in the next 365 days. I have to stop. I have to eliminate that from my vocabulary. Stop saying that. Okay, well, hey,
procrastination.
Procrastination. Okay, I'm gonna. I think now one thing I have to do is pull out the calendar and make it happen.
Right.
Instead of just saying, okay, I'm going to do it, I have to go through and put an actionable plan in place to go through and say that instead of okay, look at my calendar, January 6th, that's when we're going to start the process. Giving specific dates because we're not promised the next days. We're not promised years from now. The only thing we're not promised even the next few moments, but we have to take advantage of the moments that we have. So I think that's one thing that I would go through and do differently. I have to stop going through and kicking the can forward and start living life as of today instead of.
It would be great that you could get your pilot's license. I know she would probably love to take some dinners and you fly a plane or something to maybe the Martha's Vineyard or something like this for dinner in the Martha's Vineyard, or go up to Maine and get a lobster.
Yeah.
That would be a great. I think I would probably take the risk and say, Ferris, can you carry me to Maine for a lobster? That sounds like a plan.
One of her good friends in Thompson, Georgia, he's a realtor. And he has a plane. He has a little I think a little 4-seater plane. And
is that a single engine? Is that like one with the propeller? Okay, I don't think I like those though.
But it's incredible. They're incredibly safe if you keep the upkeep. And I'm not a pilot, so I don't know. But anyhow, they seem incredibly safe.
Right.
I would get into it. But he and his wife, they fly down to Jacksonville, Florida for a dinner, for a date and everything, and come back. And it's just having the flexibility. And I'm like, man, that's what you work hard for. You work hard to go and do the things that you enjoy. And there's risk in everything. So I know some of you probably put in the comment, like, I would never get my pilot's license, but there's risk in driving a car.
Right.
I have a motorcycle. There's risk in driving a motorcycle. There's risk in walking. So there's risk in everything. But one thing in living my life, I would never go through and actually live a life where I'm kind of going through and trying to go through and mitigate every last risk, or to go through and actually say, okay, I'm trying to avoid every last risk, because that's impossible. That's misery for me. So I'm a very outgoing person like that.
Well, that's great. Well, I think that question that you're posing about doing things differently, I think that's going to be ultimately our decision to actually make a choice and say, you know what are we going to do differently to and I always ask the question, where am I going to be in the next year? If I'm going to be in the same situation, that's stagnation. Stagnation produces, if you see stagnated water, it produces mold, it produces disease. And so I'd rather be hot or cold. Like if you're going to be something, I don't want to be in the lukewarm. Yeah. Like if I'm taking a shower, it's going to be either a hot shower or a cold shower. Yeah. You don't want to be like a warm shower. I need something hot or cold. And so I want you to know this, you have to make a choice. You have to make a decision in order to have a better outcome for next year. You have to do something different this year. Yeah.
And Caleb, one thing I would just encourage in our closing is to go through and think back. I would encourage you to go through and think back. Think back over the last year. Think about those happy moments. Think about those moments where you're like, okay, I got frustrated with, or the moments that you felt may have felt stagnant as well. Go through and think about what can you do differently in 2022, because 2022 is an opportunity to go through and have 365 days. I don't think next year is a leap year, but we have 365 days of opportunity to go through and change.
Right.
The worst thing to do is have all this opportunity to change and to don't change, to have the same song December 2022, that we have in December 2021.
Wow.
And so that's that. Now that's true stagnation.
Right.
And so one thing I would encourage you to do is kind of just make a mental note of this past year, some of the good things that you've accomplished, some of the things that have yet to be accomplished, and then go through and start working on those things. Then also go through and see what makes you happy. I think so many times we lean and gleam and try to make things make us happy, whether it be a job, whether it be people, whether it be whatever. I think we have to look inwardly and say, what truly makes me happy?
Right.
And when you go there and find out what truly makes you happy, you have to go with the bulldog tenacity relentlessly to go through and say, I'm not letting go until my happiness is achieved, because it's important to go through and for you to be happy instead of trying to make everyone else happy. Walking into 22, I would encourage everybody, make yourself happy. If anybody's going to be happy, I'm going to be happy.
That's right.
And because I think that if I'm happy, then my environment can change. Then we'll have a happy environment. But if I'm miserable, I can make everybody else miserable as well.
I like that.
Yep.
I like that. But that's a great way to end it. We're going to end it right there.
Yeah.
Make yourself happy. Going into, if you have 365 days left, you make those 365 the best days of your life. Okay. Yeah. And so there you have it, guys. Make sure you tune into our podcast every week. Go to Spotify, go to Anchor, and write up, type in Conversations with the Homecare Guyz, and make sure you click that notification button so you can be aware of all of our podcasts when they come out. Yep. And so, Ferris, is there anything else you want to say?
Also, we just encourage each of you to go through and comment below. Go ahead and like, share. Go ahead and invite your friends to this conversation as well, because this conversation is just not between my brother and I. This conversation is with you as well. We want to go through and conversate with you. This is a journey that we're on together. Right. And as we're preparing to close out 2021, we want this 2022 conversation to continue and to be amazing as well. So continue to join us, continue to go through and subscribe, continue to go through and click the notification buttons, and